There are thousands of crypto projects in the space, but in my opinion, you only have 5 projects that actually are going to make you money in the bull market. So in this video, I'm going to show you my top 5 projects that I think if you hold them and you know what you are doing, you can make a fortune. So let's go into it. So first one, I would say also based on the stablecoin narrative is Ethereum. So if we look at this video, this is Tom Lee, one of the biggest investors of Ethereum. In the last month, he bought more or less 6 billion worth of Ethereum. And he's saying that Ethereum is having his 2017 moment, similar to Bitcoin, that was under 1,000 and then went 100x. And he thinks Ethereum in the next years will make 40 to 50x. Honestly, looking at Ethereum, I think it's going to do very well, may even do a 10x from here, could go even to 4 or 5 trillion in the next 5 years. So yeah, it's one of the best projects. I think you have better risk reward, but in terms of Bitcoin and Ethereum at this moment in time, I would say Ethereum is the best option. Why is Ethereum so important? I would say not only it was the first layer one to have smart contracts, is the second largest coin, and now with the stablecoin narrative where Wall Street is actually really heavy into the stable coins. Why stable coins? Because 24/7 banks close. In terms of fees, is also very cheap, much faster than a bank. Banks are limited by border sanctions. Stablecoins are internet native, and you can send money from New York to Tokyo almost instantaneously. Also, no gatekeepers, programmable money. You can use for lending, borrowing. It's just a more programmable form of money. So stablecoins is one of the biggest narratives in crypto. And I would say Ethereum and in this case Solana are the two most positioned ones, because you have 60 to 70% of USDT is more or less in Ethereum. And when you look at USDC, 60 to 70% is on Solana. So I think Ethereum and Solana will dominate in terms of stablecoins. That's why I think those two will do very, very well. I think first will be Ethereum. If we look at the last cycles, Bitcoin moved first, then Ethereum started to have his moment as well, and then Solana came along. So if we look at Ethereum, and I'm going to show you the chart in a second, we are looking at the price of Ethereum around 10K. If it reaches the Ethereum against Bitcoin ratio of 0.082, if Bitcoin goes to 130, we are looking at 10K, 150K. For Bitcoin, we are looking at the 12K Ethereum. And if Bitcoin goes to 200K, we are looking at Ethereum around 16K, which I think it will happen. To be honest, I think this year we might see a 6 to 8K, even best case scenario 10K. I think 6 to 8K happens this year for Ethereum. I think it doubles from here, goes to 1 trillion, and we might see coins like Solana going from 100 billion to 500, as is the second largest coin in terms of developers, very fast, very cheap, and also the stablecoin narrative is very strong there. So if we look at Bitcoin, I think we top around 150 to 200K. If we look at the Bitcoin power law, that has been really, really good in the last few cycles, we tend to top around the golden ratio here, around 200K. We could even top around 150 to 160 could happen. So I think Ethereum still reaches 8 to 10K, and Bitcoin, I would say this will be the last phase, even if we still have more upside. But I think between 150 and 200K, we're going to have a big correction. I'm not so sure if this cycle we're going to have Bitcoin going down like 70, 80%. Last cycle we had Luna collapsing, you had FTX collapsing, so many things going down. I don't know if this cycle we're going to have such a big crash for Bitcoin. I don't know what would cause that. But in terms of the cycle, I think we are getting to the last phase. I think in the next 6 months, we're going to have a top for Bitcoin. Now let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum currently at 4,300. In terms of chart, it's looking really good. As you can see, we closed above this key level of 4K, big resistance for the first time in a while. So it took, and also this is an important lesson for all of us investors and traders. it takes a lot of patience to make money in crypto. So if you look at Ethereum, for example, it took 1,365 days for Ethereum to reach 4,700. So almost 4 years that Ethereum was an absolute disgrace, and in a span of 3 months, Ethereum just outdo every single year that went down. So it went down for 3-4 years in a span of 2-3 months. Ethereum just, yeah, it's exploding, it's doing very well. I think the next one is Solana. I'm going to speak about that in the video. Last cycle, when Ethereum started to do well, started to close above all-time highs, Solana then had a period of 2-3 months that did like 40-50x. I think this time is going to happen the same thing, but of course it will not be 50x, but I would say 5x for Solana, maybe in the next few months, as also the narrative is really, really strong. So Ethereum is looking good. If you look at Ethereum against Bitcoin, we are still actually at the mid. So this is the all-time high for Ethereum against Bitcoin, not all-time high, but key level from the last bull market. If Ethereum reaches 0.08, we are looking at the 10K price for Ethereum. This is if Bitcoin continues at this price. If Bitcoin goes to 150K and Ethereum reaches this level, as I was showing, we are looking at the 12-16K for Ethereum. So still a lot of upside for Ethereum. Another thing that makes me bullish for Ethereum for the next few months is momentum on the monthly is at the lows. So the last time it was at the lows, it was basically the beginning of the bull market of 2020 actually in this case, again in the same level. So Ethereum looks good. I think it's a must in everyone's portfolio at the moment. The narrative is strong, and so between Bitcoin and Ethereum at the moment, I'll choose Ethereum. Of course, Bitcoin is always nice to have. You'll never lose money with Bitcoin, but I see the narrative also for Ethereum very, very strong. The second one, second coin I think will do very, very well is Solana. So Solana is in a range. It's been in this level for quite a while. As you can see, for the last year, Solana has been in this range between 200 and 100. We had a deviation. We went above 265, 300, but again, we are below. So where Solana becomes bullish is around 200. Yeah, around 200, it will become really, really bullish. The narrative is also very strong. A few days ago, Solana actually did 100,000 transactions in one block, which is insane. It's more combined than almost every layer one together. So in terms of capacity, Solana is insane. It scales. It's also one of the most decentralized, more applications, one of the best teams. So for me, Solana is the best one to have at the moment in terms of risk. So also, if you look at Solana against Ethereum, we are at the weekly demand zone. The last time that Solana was at this level, Solana did basically 10x against Ethereum. I don't know if that will happen, but I would assume that the next maybe month or so, Solana will start outperforming Ethereum. That's why I think the flows will go from Bitcoin to Ethereum, Ethereum to Solana, and also the Big 10, BNB, all those coins might do well, but I think Solana will be the best one because the narrative of stable coins, very fast and cheap, I just think is, from a risk standpoint, I think is even better than Ethereum. So Solana in a good level. That's my third cryptocurrency. My biggest conviction is still Tau, and it will keep being, and I'll show you why in a second. But Solana, I would say, between Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, at this moment, I'll choose Solana. I just think he's undervalued. And you don't want to buy coins after they double or do 3 times. Like, for example, Ethereum went from 1,300 to almost 5K in 2 months. Do you want to buy a coin that did 3 times? You can still have it, I recommend. But definitely, I think Solana is a better option. And even if you look in terms of price action, it's still in a good level to accumulate. Solana could double from here and still be lower than XRP market cap, which in my opinion is a scam. So Solana is my second. I'll say my third one, not my third one, my biggest conviction, and one of the 5 coins I think are the future of crypto is Tau. So Tau is currently at 354. Price action has been poor, but to be honest, it's still at 44 in terms of market cap. They had 0 VCs behind the scenes. The fact that he's bigger than Near and Aptos with no investment. Basically, if you look at Near, Aptos, and all these projects, they raised around 300, 500 million. Tao didn't raise anything. Fairly launched like Bitcoin. It's a decentralized marketplace for AI where you can, with the power of incentives, basically solve any problem or optimize for any problem you can have. Currently, they have 128 subnets that are like decentralized companies. It's going to have thousands of them. Halving is coming in December. You have big investors behind the scenes like Barry Silbert, James Altucher, really smart people. So for me, this is like the internet in 95. It's still very chaotic. You still don't have a good front door for Tao. You still need better user interface. But when that happens for subnets, I think it's game over. And this is a, a top 3 project in the making. Has everything. The technology is great. The coordination that they created with Tao, it's insane. You have the alignment between miners, validators, subnets. So I just think it's a great project. And with the having 50% less supply, I could easily see Tao doing a 10x in a span of 3 months. Like XRP did that, and it's a scam. So I would easily see Tao going from 3 billion market cap to 33, which is the same market cap of Dogecoin, and still be massive undervalued. So for me, in terms of risk reward, Tao is the best one. You don't want to lose 300, otherwise we could go to 250, 200, but around this level is a great dollar cost average. For me, it's the best coin you can have. Also, if you look in, I was actually doing some math with ChatGPT, and currently Tao has 128 subnets. If you look to the subnets, if Tao has more or less 500 to 1,000 subnets, the buying pressure for Tao will be insane. You're going to have, in this case, for example, if we look at the 500 subnets and the price of Tao is at 500, we are looking at 500 million buying pressure. If we're looking at 1,000, we are looking almost at a billion. So if you look at 1,000 subnets, we keep and look, if Tao reaches 1,000 to 3,000, we are looking at 5 billion in buying pressure, just 5 subnets alone. We are not even speaking about when subnets generate revenue. So I just think the tokenomics are really good for Tao. And when this thing explodes, it will be very fast. The halving is coming. Subnets are becoming better. User interfaces are being built on some of the best subnets. So I just think it's inevitable for Tao, in my opinion, to become a top 5 project. It's just insane. Another really good project is Hyperliquid. And it's another one I've been researching deep the last few weeks / months. It's basically a decentralized exchange. The fascinating thing about Hyperliquid is the best project in terms of revenue. So if we look at revenue, Hyperliquid generated around 100 million in the last 30 days. Only behind Circle and Tether, which are stablecoins, Hyperliquid has 5x more revenue than Solana and Ethereum combined, which is insane. And another very important thing about this is 92% of the fees Hyperliquid makes is going to be to buy back the token, which is insane. So we are looking at 100, more or less a billion per year, and 800 million, 900 million more or less goes to buy Hyperliquid. So that's why you see the token doing very, very well. It's very fast, very cheap, very intuitive. Lots of liquidity, is already outperforming some centralized exchanges in some aspects. So I could easily see Hyperliquid doing a 10 to 20x from here too. So currently, Hyperliquid has a market cap of 13 billion, I think. Even if it does the 10x, for the amount of revenue they do, is one of the best projects out there. It's insane. Really profitable. You don't see many profitable projects when you have $1 billion project like this, generating in fees the most profitable crypto business there, even more than Ethereum and Solana. It was launched in December of 2024, fairly launched too, one of the biggest airdrops ever. Absolutely insane. So I think after Tao, from my research, I think Hyperliquid also has a lot of potential. It's just you don't need to do KYC. You can trade with a lot of liquidity. It's transparent, on-chain, deep liquidity. So I just think Hyperliquid easily gets to the market cap of BNB. And to be honest, I think it's even better than the centralized exchanges. And it's just starting. With 6 months, they're already able to achieve that. They have their own chain, Hyper EVM. So for me, Hyper also one of my favorite projects, and I've been researching lately more, and it's insane. The tokenomics, the buyback, the amount of fees they generate, it's just pretty insane. In 6 months doing this, never heard of. So Hyperliquid for me, also one of my top 5 projects. If it retraces to 37, really good dollar cost average, also could be a good trade here. So another one that I think it will do very, very well. And you could hold it, I would say, for the next 3-5 years, and I think it will be a top also 10 to 5 project as well. I think Tau and Hyper, very different, of course. One is for AI, the other one is a decentralized exchange, but both are very needed, I would say. And the last one, also one of my biggest convictions, Sui. So Sui is just a really good alternative to Solana. Also very fast, cheap. I think is actually the only competitor to Solana. The team is insane, from Meta, from Apple. They scale, almost never went down. They have also really good applications, top tier team. So also the chart looks good. One of the few projects that has been doing very good against Bitcoin. I'll say Hyperliquid, Sui, in terms of price action, have been one of the best projects to invest. So Sui looks good. I think this is another project that does a 5-10x in the next year and a half, based on the momentum. And yeah, if you have these 5 projects, Bitcoin, Ethereum could be one of them, Solana, Sui, Tau, Hyperliquid, I think actually you have the best portfolio you could have. Decentralized AI, decentralized exchange, digital gold, Bitcoin, stable coins, Ethereum, and for performance, Solana, Sui. So in this case, almost 6 projects. And I think you will do very, very well with this 5. So thank you very much, guys. Hope you have a good one.